Bonjour, bonsoir. Dear friends, we have a great friend to introduce you to all of you, and you may have met him. His name is Juston, the famous Juston himself. We're going to talk today about rebirth, reinvention, maybe reincarnation, maybe going through some of the major obstacles in life and making the best out of it. Juston has been a friend for close to 10 years. He's a collector member. We've had so much fun over the years, done trips, went on to journeys, done wine tasting, parties, dancing. Our French is loving each other. And it's a very special moment. I'm having goosebumps. This is the angel that is looking after us and you specifically.
Thank you.
And he's making us who we are today. So we're going to pop the cork as we always do. And we're going to dive into the history of a great life. Woo! That was a good one. Ah! This was Pamela. So, Juston, welcome to the lounge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We spent a great Burgundy tasting yesterday. Wasn't it fun?
It was fantastic, and I still go back to you've been holding out on us for a very long time, because that was some of the best wine I've had in a while.
Thank you. So, maybe as we toast, how did you get so passionate about wine?
So, I mean, wine has always, played a pretty big part in my life since the latest Rebirth, which we'll talk about in a little bit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But, the first person probably introduced it to me was my fabulous wife, Heather.
Yes.
She was the first person to introduce wine. She was the first one to have me taste wine, to really start appreciating a good quality wine. And there was just something interesting that clicked really quickly. Like, being someone from like a tech background, seeing more engineering kind of thought process, like scientific process, there was something that just excited me about like the education behind the wine, about the learning, the science behind the wine, and the different places it can take you, the different memories it can bring, the different experiences it drives, and it just something that clicked instantly.
I love it.
And what I like most about it is like it's an ever-changing journey. Like you will constantly experience something new. There's plenty of opportunities to branch out and move in different directions. Your palate's going to change throughout your entire life. You're constantly going to be enjoying something new. So I don't know. It's just something that it's always kind of hit a really close place for me.
So well said. And that prepares us very much to your life. As you said, it's transformative. It's an evolution. Wine evolves in the glass as much as it evolves throughout its life. And you've had a major evolution. So born in the Northwest.
Yep.
And then normal education.
Yep.
And then at 13 years old, something happened.
Yeah, life-changing.
So maybe you're willing to share what happened and how did you deal with it at the time?
Absolutely. I really appreciate you kind of setting this up and talking about this. This is a topic that, as you can tell, like is very, very emotional and hard,
to all of
hard
us,
to talk about. And
anything that happens, and I want to tell you, Juston, to make you feel comfortable, many friends with us watching, many I know, including myself, I had those life-changing moments, not only through myself, but Gina as an example, when we went through some significant health issues that we had to correct immediately. It was breast cancer in her case. And we still went on with life. And today things are fantastic. But, we all go through this.
Yep.
So
and honestly, I think it's something that we bonded over. Like, so getting back to it. So at the age of 14, definitely a tough year, a tough first change in my life. Really odd kind of placing, and kind of ties back into, the overall theme, rebirth, growth, kind of reinventing yourself. Another important thing that I really kind of want to get in front of everyone is learning to trust what your body is telling you, learning to understand when something is wrong, because something can change on a dime. Something can change so quickly that not recognizing those signs can have detrimental impacts. And, I'm a living testament to some of that stuff happening. So, the story actually begins with something relatively simple, and we thought was no big deal. I was playing after school, like flag football, something you wouldn't think would be a very dangerous sport. I ended up having to take a little fall and bumping my head. And for a couple days after. Just had minor headaches. Something wasn't off. I felt a little different. So they thought I had a concussion. Said get some rest, no big deal. Go in and stay out of school for a few days.
That's the fortunate.
I had a great time, staying at home sleeping. Went back to school a few days later.
Well, playing electronic games because you.
Well, I not date myself, but there weren't that many electronic games back then.
But you're still younger than I am. I was with the Atari games. That's my.
I grew up with the Mario and
so you're much
Nintendo,
younger.
so a little bit better, but didn't think anything of it, but went back to school, and there just was some minor changes that started occurring that I didn't even notice, or I didn't pay much attention. I was 14. Like, what do you think about? You don't notice things like that, but simple things like I started having very difficult times interacting with people in large groups. I got very overwhelmed very, very quickly. I started getting fairly significant headaches. I went to a private school at the time. My dad would pick me up on the way home from work and drive me home because it was a ways away from where I lived. And if he was late picking me up or wasn't there on time, I would end up having to go sit outside because I couldn't handle kids playing in the background. He started to just notice signs. And he would go to the school and say, well, we need to let him sit outside. We can't let him just, suffer. So they finally took him back to the doctor, wrote it off as a concussion again, but the symptoms kept getting worse and worse. I stopped being able to interact. I stopped communicating really well. I started really struggling with speech. So I finally went back, MRI, found out I had a tumor, brain tumor, center of the brain on my optic nerve.
Thank God they have MRI.
Very scary at
to
the
be
time.
able to see what's going on.
Science has changed a lot, even over the last years. Back then, it was kind of a miracle to catch it at that point.
So they catch it, obviously, they act on it immediately, I would imagine.
Yeah, so it was a very, very quick, definitely progression. One of the big, the problems it was causing and why I was starting to have so many symptoms, really unrelated to football injury, just happened to be the trigger that caused me to recognize that something was wrong. The symptoms were probably
because you already had the tumor. It was not the fall that
it was there. They didn't know where it came from. They couldn't explain how it, the timing of it, but it was just there. So ended up suffering from a disease called hydrocephalus. Okay. So what it is where the tumor is located, it is blocking the ventricles from draining. So basically it was causing just significant swelling on the brain. The fluid would build, and couldn't actually ever drain out of your brain.
Wow.
So it was a pretty quick surgery. The tumor was secondary. They had to treat the hydrocephalus right away. Went in and put a shunt. So I have a shunt in my head that basically regulates and controls the pressure to kind of...
well, you're a tech guy, so you get that too. Because he's a big brain in technology as an additional brain. So a lot of skills as well to understand this. So what they did, they installed this mechanism to be able to drain.
Yep, so basically eliminate the symptoms. Get rid of the headache, stop the problems that were causing the changes in behavior, causing the headache. So they would treat that first, and then we would go back and tackle and research what's going on with the brain tumor once that was addressed.
And today you feel amazing.
I do. I'm not gonna say it's not been a journey. Unfortunately, it's been one of those. The theme is reinvention, right? So there's some definite challenges that came out of this, and that's really what we like to talk about. Is that growth, that coming out of it, and inventing yourself.
So how did that change your life for the better? Because I want to look at the positive side of it. Besides, at some stage, his amazing tattoo, because he has some of the most incredible tattoo that you will ever see. But how did this moment, we are almost in Chinese New Year, in a new cycle of life. It's going to be the year of the tiger. And you live life fully. We've been friends for close to 10 years now. We know each other very well. And you embrace it at all levels. You've been very successful in your business. So maybe what are the key ideas that you want to share that you went through to pivot very positively, knowing you had this, and to still live a full life and embrace life?
Yeah, and that's definitely where we want to focus. It's always about progress. It's about moving forward. It's about stepping off taking that first step off the curb, right? Advancing. And so it has been an ongoing struggle. To kind of highlight that before we talk about the positive, just quickly, there were some fairly significant life-altering changes that occurred because of that I had to recognize and overcome. Sure. One of which is there is zero memory. of anything before the age of 14. It's all just gone. So I do not recall a childhood. There was 8 to 10 years of really difficult time, tackling the symptoms until kind of things improved. Like I had fortunately 4 or 5 revision surgeries on the shunt. There was still a lot of fear going along with the tumor. And there was one significant life-altering moment through that whole entire process that really caused something to click and say, you have to move forward. And it was after my 2nd or 3rd revision. I'd gone through multiple changes. The big risk of these surgeries is that I don't know what's coming on the other side.
That's right.
I don't know who I'm going to be coming out the other end of one of these surgeries. And
it's a personality change.
It's a very scary time. So we've talked about it fast, but I was in a rehabilitation school at the time trying to relearn because no memory. I couldn't do anything.
That's right.
And I was getting very, very frustrated. And the nurse or doctor at the time basically had enough of my behavior. Like, you need to learn. And she made a comment to me, something to the effect of, why I was asking, why am I here? Why do I have to keep doing this?
Yes.
Just let me be a kid. Let me enjoy life. And she made a comment we're here to prove if you're going to be a burden to your parents for the rest of your life, or you're going to be able to live on your own. And that was the moment that clicked for me. That was the moment that said, I am in control of this. I can overcome this. I can relearn. I can grow, and I can change.
So you became positive immediately.
Just immediately. I mean, everyone has ups and downs, but yes, it was a life-altering moment where I am not going to accept this. I am going to move forward. I'm going to find, and that's where, find passions, find people in your life that improve it, find people in life that build on you versus take back from you. And that's, was really the altering moment for me.
And how did you find at that time within you this very positive, transformative energy that says, that's where I'm going to go?
It was a drive. It was like, I am tired of being dependent on other people to save me. I was dependent on doctors. I was dependent on family to take care of me. It's like, this is enough. This is my chance to move it forward. And there, like I said, I don't know. It was just an instant click that occurred.
That's amazing. Yeah. And how did you take control of it?
It was definitely a slow process. Yes, please.
We're gonna have to drink more on this one because this is so exciting. How to turn a very difficult situation that you live, where you can end up in depression and outside of society and just go out of, the world as we know it. And you've taken the other stance, a lot of strength, a lot of personal self, confidence and all that to do it. So how did you really do this?
I mean, so this is one of the challenging things because there's not a lot. We talk about reinvention. This unfortunately has happened multiple times since then, and every time it's a reset. So I don't have a ton of memories about those initial phases, initial stages. I can tell you, we actually met at the latest reinvention. Like I had just had surgery and I came down here as a reward to myself. And
I remember that
at the party. I had the huge scar on the side of my head, and like that was just an instant click and a bonding point for us. But so with this latest one, like for me, it was really recognizing that this was my opportunity. This was something that I could either grasp on and make sure that, I didn't know, is it going to be 1 year or 10 years before I have to go through this again? Yes. But I'm going to make the best out of the next X amount of time to ensure that this is enjoyable and that everyone around me sees a positive and growth coming out of it.
That's right.
For me, coming out of this one, it was passions. I made sure and focus on the passions I had in life. The things, wine being a big one. Our mutual love of French bulldogs, like
for sure,
the animals in general. Like,
hence, here it is.
That's a good
tattoos,
topic.
clothes, and fashion.
Tattoos, friendships.
You should have seen
trips,
Justin in the last few days, always wearing an amazing thing. On Saturday at the tasting, beautiful pink jacket with great highlights of pink on his shirt.
Toned it down so we didn't conflict today.
That was a great one.
Had to go more subtle today for this. But
walk us through the mental process of turning, health dramatic situation, because it could be terminal, and it could be anything we can think of the worst, to where it is today, where you've made so many friends who are collectors program through all the events we do. I mean, to everything else. So do you think it was actually written that all that should happen?
I do believe something is playing into that. It's just too coming from a data background, someone
That's
that
right.
follows like data and lines and planning and strategy, and like, it definitely feels very, very structured. I am where I'm supposed to be today,
Yes.
and I can only grow to where I'm going to be tomorrow. So I do think I'm following some type of line that, while I can, split off of it and go a
Yes.
different route, like I have plenty of options I can still control. There is some type of destined future set out for me. I just need to figure out how to get there and get there in the most positive way.
And how are you shown the way to get there? Because I have a feeling you can get out of any situation, possibly. No, but through your personality, through your style, besides the tech side, where you figure things out technologically wise, I have a feeling that you've been through a lot. You will go through a lot, as we all do. But somehow there's the way your mind works today that you're always solution oriented.
Yeah, I mean, I think my job is data solutions. Like literally everything I've gone has gone down the path of finding a solution for
That's
something.
right.
It's just one of those things that's kind of ingrained into what we do and how we do it. So for me, again, going back into how I did it, it's really more of a, like, I can sit there and focus on the negative. It's really easy to focus on. I think that's one of the big problems we have right now in this world. It's really easy to focus on the negative, but how do you move past it? What do you transform? And for me, the big driver I made is I made a shift in my life from focusing on myself to focusing on others.
Yeah.
What am I doing to better this world? What am I doing to better the people around me? What am I doing to kind of like improve the situation that we're in right now?
Mm-hmm.
And that mindset has really helped me significantly. I had a really important person in my life within the last few years that kind of like ingrained a lot of thought in me, something that I've always struggled with just because, I missed a very important part of my life, that childhood years, the growth, the interaction, the social interactions. And, something that I've talked to people about and struggled with, just interacting with people, coming to parties. That's been a great opportunity to test those skills, but had a really important person in my life that, taught me kind of some very fundamental concepts. And one is, enter a room, make everyone feel like they're the most important person there. They're the most important person in your life. If you're going to dinner, it's the best food you've ever had. If you're going to watch them play, they're the best performer you've ever seen in your life. Like, lift other people up. And by lifting other people up, it will improve you. It'll make you whole. Right. My life is a lot more dedicated to others than it is internally. And I think that's been one of the bigger change moments I've had. That was one of the things that really helped me through some of these difficult times, is focusing on others, seeing the positive reaction coming out of others and some of the behaviors that they give back when they receive that has been really a changing experience.
And I witness it with you in events and parties. I'm always thrilled when I know you're coming.
Have a lot of fun.
And you make around you this magnetic energy that people gravitates with you, around you, and for you, and all of the above. So you've applied it so well.
Thank you.
And it's exciting. What else would you say you've done that could help others as well when they go through dramatic situations?
A couple of big things. One, we talked about it. I think, like, just from a health standpoint, like, recognizing what your body is telling you. I think our bodies are extremely powerful. Like, there's some connection to something bigger than our bodies that is kind of in control and tells you when something's wrong. So know when something's wrong. Trust your body. Your body will tell you when something's wrong.
That's right.
Another big thing that kind of I've really been focused on lately is like sharing, like expressing when something's wrong, having other people recognize the signs. One of the big weaknesses and some of the challenges I've had in the past is like you ignore signs, you ignore things. So, living with Heather, kind of explaining to her kind of what to look for, some of the problems you're having. Anyone going through this, it's really important that other people are able to recognize when something isn't happening, so they can raise the awareness, they can check, question, and challenge you. There are certain very, very key triggers that are very obvious that something is wrong and I need to get into the hospital. And I will usually recognize them too late. The other big thing, you and I have talked about this in the past, but mental health, like normalizing mental health and asking for help. And, it's probably one of the biggest frustrations I have with the world we live in today is mental health is not seen as a disease. It's seen as like an impediment.
That's
and
right.
like,
Well said.
It was a massive struggle. And even to this day, there are certain things where I really struggle with asking for help or stepping out of my comfort zone. This conversation, it's not easy for me to sit down and talk about this.
But I'm thrilled because I've begged Justin for 1 year. It's happening, finally.
It's something that I don't get out and talk about. I'm very guarded about it because there's this fear
you're very
of judgment.
charismatic and personable. So today, this is a great occasion. So tell us more about mental health and what people should at large seek for help.
I mean, there is no definition of it. That's the big thing. What's struggle for me is completely different for you. Everyone kind of has their own things they're going through. So there is no like line that tells you, I need help. It's, am I happy? Am I happy every day?
That's right.
Do I happy every day? No, but like, are there things in life that are impacting my ability to live it to the fullest? And knowing when to ask for help and being okay with other people not only talking to other people, but listening to other people with some of their challenges. There is this massive fear, I think, in this country and in the world of recognize it's seen as like, again, an impediment. It's seen as something that's holding people back and it doesn't have to. Honestly, a lot of the struggles I have around focus, around interacting with people are all things that have led to an extremely successful career.
That's right.
Have really opened doors for me as being able to channel them and recognize them and promote them as benefits, like promote them as moving forward, promote them as things that can help guide you through life and help guide others through theirs. So, I mean, it's a struggle. And I think there's a lot more people that are dealing with it that aren't as willing to kind of open up and talk about it.
So how you suggest that all of us in many ways open up? What was for you the key that, besides Heather, and I'm sure she'll come into the picture shortly, as an amazing partner of yours and a great wife and such a fun and fabulous lady, that helped you to open up? Because I know so many people, as you know, with psychological issues, problems, many are watching, and who are not daring to say, let's talk about this, or I need help, or I need to do this, and who are, resistant of seeking for help. So what's your...
It's about taking that first step. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. Being comfortable stepping off the curb, being comfortable stepping in the door, being comfortable making that first appointment. It's knowing that the majority of people are there to support you.
That's
like
right.
I'm someone that looks at life and thinks everybody hates me. It's just like my natural instinct. I think
and everybody loves you on the opposite. So it's funny because you think sometimes the opposite of what the perception you give.
So there's that first step is recognizing that and sharing that message, because I've had great conversations with people about the way that I view life and them sharing the message back. No, this is the way we view you. This is the way, and I then share that same logic and process with others. It's about talking about stuff. That's the most important thing I can share with anyone is you have to open up and talk to people.
That's right. So how do you recommend we all create space of safety where you feel that you could be vulnerable, where you feel that you could be safe sharing?
Like, look internally. So it starts with how I interact with other people that are trying to say that message, trying to deliver that message, trying to share their struggles or successes in life. Like, how do you react when someone approaches you with it?
Do
you tell someone, oh, just be happy? Or do you listen to them and hear what's behind it and try and acknowledge that there is something causing that? Let's be honest. Like, we look at depression, anxiety, stress as something that's wrong with you. But it is a health issue. There is a chemical imbalance going on in your brain that is causing this. You do not have control over it.
That's right.
That's why there's medications. That's why there's therapy. That's why there's counseling.
Exactly.
Because you don't have control over it. So if we admit to begin with that someone that is struggling isn't in control, they can't just think themselves happy. It doesn't work that way. There's something medically wrong that they need help with. So recognize that when you're talking to people. So I would say it isn't the responsibility always of the person that's struggling. It's the people around them, the people that are surrounding that circle, that very close-knit group of people that you are comfortable enough to open up to. How are you going to react when you're in that circle and someone approaches you? like it is critical that you acknowledge and recognize what someone is telling you.
That's
And
right.
that's something that I think like I have bonded with, many people in this area,
That's right.
because like it's, you and I have had many candid conversations that are very
Phenomenal.
difficult, like that I don't share with other people.
Thank
but
you.
Because there's that acknowledgement, there's this honest caring that I feel coming out of you that has just helped me open up so much.
And that's how, dear friends, we've built as well that friendship. It's the moment I've always enjoyed Justin, but the moment I knew what Justin had went through, and he was so kind to be honest to share it with me, that we even became closer. So I think all of us in general, we all have all the things you've talked about. And I want to talk about one specifically is fear. Tell us how you overcome fear, mental fear, in the context that you've experienced it and how you've overcome it so well.
So I would say I don't overcome it. Like that's
never
the first
do.
step. Like you don't overcome it. It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something, I've lived 40 plus years now in this environment. Like it's ingrained in who I am. So it's accepting that fear and pushing yourself forward. Like knowing how to acknowledge that there's that fear, but saying, I can do this. It's focusing on the positive. It's, so I'll use this discussion as a great example. It took you a year to persuade me. You know what finally did? Like, why am I not doing this?
I tried a lot.
What is the fear that's causing this? And talking to people and realizing, you know what? No, like take that first step.
Yes.
That's the most important thing you can do is just step out of your comfort zone. Like I would not have been successful if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone, 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Like how do you move forward? Like how do you take that first step?
And by the way, what did you accept to be with us, with all those friends in the world, to talk about this?
I think it was a combination of a lot of things. One, the great people over here that are my support channel.
Yeah.
Talking to them and saying,
Pamela and Heather and Dazia and
Yep.
all those great friends, of course, that are part of our world and family, which is great.
That was the one, just having that conversation. One, you and I just talking about it.
For sure.
I didn't want to, my fear, so my fear. One, I always want to be acknowledged. I want to feel like I'm part of the group. I don't want to be seen as different. That's one of the internal fears I have.
And you're not at all.
Yeah, well,
I mean, unless you talk about it.
Yeah. So that was a fear.
But we all different with any issues, health or mental or what have you, that we've experienced. So we all feel that ostracism in a way that we self-impose to ourselves. On any given issue. Often we're the only one who knows it.
Yeah. Well, then.
I mean, out of the 30 people at the wonderful tasting yesterday we did together, the Birkin tasting, there's maybe 6 people who knew what you went through.
Yeah. But, and that's, again, my protection.
That's right.
Like, it's that fear of opening up. So that was one of the big fears about doing this was one, people will now know. So what's that reaction going to be? How are people going to receive that? Like, we've met hundreds of people like every day. I can't walk around town. Usually it's, Leopold's here.
Yeah.
But I'm here too. Hello. But
the 4-legged. We're gonna taste Leopold shortly.
Yeah. Once it's how are those people gonna see me differently? So really, realistically, I know that they're not gonna see me any differently. You guys are not gonna notice anything different.
And why is it so important for all of us to be seen in a certain way, or to portray a certain vision of who we are?
Just like natural instinct to want to fit in. It's natural instinct to not want to be different, to be afraid of being different. In reality, being different is like one of the best things I can ever say about life.
Can you imagine?
Like being able to differentiate yourself. Off topic a little bit, but I personally have kind of feel like I've gone through almost an awakening over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I'm really proud about going on.
Sure.
There's a lot of unfortunate things going on in the world today, but one thing that I am really excited about because it's something that I have been a champion about for a while and it directly impacts me is, the inclusion, celebration of diversity, moving people forward, lifting people up. And I'm really kind of happy with some of the movements that are happening right now because that has been something
that you've been part of in a big way.
Yeah. That just acknowledging the differences in people and celebrating those and recognizing how they can benefit society, recognizing the benefits that some people had versus some of the negative impacts it might have on someone else. And that's kind of been like a big shift for me, and why I've openly started talking about some of this stuff, because I do have a story that could benefit other people. Like, we don't need to talk about the negatives that came out of it, the struggles in life, the massive fear of going into each surgery, not knowing what's going to come out. Am I going to be the same person? Am I going to recognize people?
That's right.
Like, talk about what actually happened, the good things that come out of it, because there are many people dealing with similar situations. Like, showing that I can be successful. We can all have successful careers. You can focus and hone in on the things that make you different and leverage them to your success. I'm lucky enough to work at a great, insurance company that in the tech side of it, where I can be successful. I can leverage some of the things that I am good at. I'm an extremely focused person. Like, I am a person that is very, very focused externally on others and the growth of others. Like, I'm a kind of like, consider like a mirror. I like to make sure the person that is approaching me is coming out of it having the best experience and growing the best that they can. So that is something that has been for my career. Very, again, I mentioned oriented. I love numbers. I'm a data freak. So working in the data sciences, data solutioning world has been like an ideal game changer for me. So it's all things that my differences have benefited and I've been able to grow from. So whether it's, nationality, sexual orientation, whether it's, trauma that's within life, those are all things that make you who you are, and being open and willing to share some of those experiences and celebrating when someone shares that for you is only going to improve us as we are as human beings. So sorry, tangent.
Lots to take in, dear friends. What a great tangent. Oof, I'm having goosebumps of excitement.
And honestly, that's probably, I'm talking about career, but that's one of the reasons I have been in my job now for, 18 years.
For sure.
I'm in a company that really focuses on inclusion, diversity, equity, not equality. Like, how do we make sure everyone's on an equal playing field? Because what's good for you isn't necessarily what I need. How do we make sure that every interaction we have with someone is improving and bettering them? And I do feel like we're at a pivot point now in this world where that is starting to come forward. And that really excites me.
And genuinely will stay, I feel.
Let's talk about the passion and the thing that started everything here.
Hey, this is one of your favorite wine. I know that. Because you came with Leopold today. And Heather, before we go to Leopold, let's talk about Heather.
Since she's not in here at the moment, this is the perfect opportunity.
She's always with you. So you make such a great friendship couple. You're so close together, which is amazing. How has she helped you as your partner in life to go through a lot of the things you went through?
Something that we talk about a lot is like the yin and the yang, right? The bringing two opposites together to benefit each other. And that's exactly who we are. We're both people that have come through difficult lives, had our own independent difficulties and challenges and traumas, but we bring kind of a synergy to each other. We challenge each other to improve every day and grow and focus on the things that move us forward. And that's probably something that has been like something that has stepped us up simply. I mean, you've been there kind of since the beginning. I think Heather and I have been together maybe 2 or 3 years before we met and you've seen the growth. And
I don't think you were married when we first met.
No.
And that's the very cool part is I've seen the growth. I need to tell you, I've seen a lot. I won't share it.
We did spend a week in Paris or France, so.
But I've seen a lot, which is amazing, and I could see 1 + 1 = 5, and I could see both of you being honest to work on things together.
Yeah,
right.
And that's the key. It's finding someone in your life that challenges you to be a better person.
That's right.
That improves you every day, that isn't holding you back. And that's exactly what I have found in Heather. And I hope to be that same person to her every day.
Well, you're a great communicator, Justin. So how do you suggest to communicate to your significant other in a very great way that it makes them do what you just said? Instead of hitting the wall and say, you should be that way, and you've done this, and you've done, you're great at communicating and somehow, looking at it from both sides of the relationship. Any suggestion there?
It's about listening. I'm someone that, I pull a lot of experiences from the past, coming from kind of the difficult family life. Like listening, I think, is the most important thing you can do. Hearing their side and actually understanding their point of view. Realizing that you're going to go into a discussion or some of those topics and like you're not going to be in sync. You're not going to be thinking the same way. So it's very, very important to understand the other person's perspective. What got them to that point?
Yeah.
And then, same with her listening to me. I think that's what we do really good together. We're both very,
and
very
she's
good
an amazing
listeners.
listener.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really there. And you have another listener, Leopold.
Leopold.
So how did you fall in love with French Bulldogs? I'm going to tell you my version.
It's actually silly and pointless at the same time. So it was shortly after Heather and I had started dating. There was a movie that came out that had a little French Bulldog in it. Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis.
Yes.
And Heather absolutely fell in love with the dog in that movie.
So you offered her one.
So she actually was, Heather's the one that takes the first step in our relationship. Let's be honest.
That's great.
So she actually was like, we're getting a dog and we're getting a French Bulldog. And it was, sweet Chloe. We can show tattoos a little bit.
You're going to have to show us. We're going to get, one of the first time ever on the show, dear friends, we're going to get undressed. I mean, Justin. I don't have any tattoos as of yet.
Our sweet Chloe, and that's, this, Desmond, this is why we know you right here.
That's right.
Like,
you should explain because it's so cool. All of you should know we have a friend, DogFriendly Winery. We talk about inclusion. It's the 2 legs and the 4 legs. And more legs if you're born with 5 legs or you're born with 3 legs. We believe in the diverse inclusion
diversity.
of our world.
Everyone has a reason to be here and provides value.
That's the key. That's the key.
So it was just, we talk about passions. Wine is obviously a big passion of ours. We were the snooty, we only drink Washington wine,
And I have a bottle I'm saving for a big occasion
very
on
special
Wapo Hill.
wine for us.
It's still there.
Very
I'm
special
saving
wine. That was our, first date wine. We gifted it to you.
So what we'll do is we're going to serve it and maybe we'll do some pictures that we'll post of that great Washington wine. We won't mention the brand yet. But I got to tell you, we met thanks to Frenchies.
Yeah, it was Frenchies. That's where our original connection came in. I mentioned obviously, the change, but so passions are important in life for us. French Bulldogs, wine, and at the time it was snow sports, so we were big snowboarders. So we had to come down to the area. It was a crappy winter at Tahoe. It's like, what we can do? We've got to find something to do. So Heather went online and found they had a French Bulldog winery, Frenchie winery here in Napa.
Pretty cool.
Gave up our ski trip, drove over here.
And whoever challenges us wanted to have dog in the winery, you're not welcome because we include everybody, including the dogs.
That was my favorite story ever. Your story of why Frenchie Winery was founded.
Exactly.
That's just you opening someone's car door, taking the dog out of the car. But anyway, so that was, that was what first started our love for Napa. Was Frenchie Winery. We had to come here. We must see it. And that was probably a year or so before we met you, but we just became obsessed with it, got to know everyone instantly, felt like we were family at Raymond Vineyards at the time, Frenchie Winery, instant family. Some of the greatest friendships we still have to this day were people we met kind of on those initial trips.
And Pamela, because I understand you're staying in her beautiful house.
We are,
Not many people, there's a big line outside wanting to stay in Pamela's house. But very few get to see. I
feel like she needs to come over here and say hi.
Thank you, Pamela.
But again, it makes it easier, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think we've built great relationships with a lot of people.
You part of the family. And
Nazi over here.
When we see you cannot come to an event, I'm the first one to pick up the phone. Why isn't Heather and Justin right here? Why aren't they coming? Oh, they have a very important thing somewhere. Okay.
We do have jobs.
Well, but the cool part, though, is I mean, you're so high up in what you do and you manage your life so well that, which is very important for all of us, is you manage priorities so well.
And yourself. well-being is got to be the number one priority. That's why like we make sure we take time for us. And we're far enough, luckily, we both have jobs that enable us to do that. Sure. So that's a benefit there. But like I would say our relationship is definitely you are someone that has a major impact on my life.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Frenchie. Yeah. Boost your ego anymore.
Well, I'm part of Frenchie. I'm on 4 legs a lot.
But again, so this was the wine that brought us to Napa. So this has a very, very, very deep, important part of what my rebirth has been. It has made this like you have played a significant role going into this segment of my life. I don't know what the next one will bring, but for now,
we'll continue. We're going to be on the cruise together. But you see, dear friends, another big lesson of life is a rebirth. We all need rebirth. We all need resets. Press on the buttons of reset, open the corks of resets. And that's the ability of wine. Thanks to wine, we became friends and we'll be friends forever. And that's the beauty of it. We've had this amazing friendship that every time we see each other, I'm so thrilled and energized and excited. And this is what wine brings, is people together, as you so kindly said.
It does. And, you know, obviously learned a lot over the years coming down here, kind of opened our eyes to, you know, get rid of the bouginess of Washington only. Now we're into France, Italy.
For sure.
You know, big time fun in France.
Man, he has an amazing collection. So, you know, in the chat, get an invitation at Justin's home because he has an amazing cellar. I can tell you that.
You've seen the list.
Amazing taste.
Yeah, but again, you're the one that opened our palate. You're the one that exposed us to stepping out of our comfort zone. And you know, I love that we're obviously tasting, you know, Bubbles, you know, one of our favorite just table wine. We serve this at every dinner party we ever have. Like this is always at the top of the table. It's a great everybody wine. But you know,
JCB 21.
Something that I learned quickly. I think probably one of the first times we met is I was never a white drinker. So I love that we're serving a white.
Yeah.
I was that person, whites aren't for me. And you instantly, like the second I said that, I just saw like your face turn white. Justin, there is a white for everyone. It just means you're not drinking enough wine.
That's it.
And like, so.
Well, and you've bought a lot of phenomenal Burgundies, a lot of great JCB whites. I mean, now you've totally transitioned.
Yeah, so now I don't have a dinner party without serving white.
That's
it's just, and this is a fantastic one. It's obviously changed a lot over the years. It's a new label, which I absolutely love.
Franco-American friendship.
Celebrating French and the American.
That's right. That's right.
And it's just, you know, it's an everyday wine, and that's why I love that we're serving this today because I think it's fantastic.
Are you willing to show us that beautiful tattoo you have on your left
so I may get a little emotional, I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
we've been trying to avoid the emotion.
So we know Dylan is a big tattoo. He knows how to zoom with the camera very well. So I'm going to move a little bit.
I'm not taking my inner shirt off.
No, but just maybe the arms.
That's not this wonderful gift.
I
don't want to lose that, so we'll take that off.
Yeah, this is mounted by Bill Farmer.
Bill Farmer.
We love you, Bill.
Our testament to Frenchie.
Yeah.
So, you know, before I take off the jacket, you know, tattoos were something that have always interested me. And there's been this massive like fear working in a corporate industry, working in the corporate world. Like, again, going back to being afraid of being different.
And
like
being judged by others because you look
like,
different.
so how is that going to be received? And, you know, it was when I just, like, you know what, no, it's about me. I can cover up if I go somewhere that I need to.
We don't even know you have that.
But so then the next question is, what is it about?
Yeah.
And, you know, my entire philosophy on life is geared towards reinventing yourself, learning the new. So really my tattoo is kind of dedicated to that growth, that change. So everything on here is a very deep meaning. I will tell you it's not done. The fabulous Sarah Kay up in Seattle. I have another, 16 hours to go with her, but we're getting there, so we'll have to re-show it.
Well, 16 hours with the beautiful Sarah doesn't seem to be a problem.
Not at all. But here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So again, it's all about change. So let me
make sure you show us because this is so cool.
Drinking.
Yeah.
Let me have another sip real quick.
We need it.
I think
we need it. I'll stay sitting down so you can all focus on this amazing storyline.
take off the watch too. But everything has a very, very deep meaning in my life. It's about regrowth. It's about change. So the bottom half, we talked about our sweet Chloe. I know you had the benefit of meeting her.
Of course.
Probably one of the biggest impacts of my life other than Heather.
Yeah.
For just someone that is like just brings pure joy. There's nothing better than having a true unconditional love of an animal. Yeah. And like I view animals, I think that's where we connect so much, as something that like my job, my goal in life is to make sure they have the best life possible.
That's right.
And if you can't or not willing to do that, then you shouldn't have an animal. That's my role as a human being, as adopting an animal. So Chloe was probably one of the sweetest little things. Unfortunately, passed away from cancer. 3 or 4 years ago, so she was the first kind of
But
addition.
we remember her. She was amazing. Same as Frenchie the Second, at the same time.
They met the same time.
Yeah,
That's how they best buds played together. Like,
believe it or not, it was a few weeks of interval when that happened.
Yeah, it was very, very quick. I remember us being at the Deloach White Party and then like 3 weeks later, it just went down. So Chloe was massive endpoint. Talk about kind of the left-hand side. I mentioned to the person. This is, I'm sad, but dear friend Enrique, probably the person that I mentioned, really kind of helped me, guide me in how to kind of interact and, how to just be a good human being. Unfortunately passed away COVID a year and a half ago. So this is kind of his symbol, and I've kind of adapted it into kind of that rebirth, regrowth. So, the 4 guitar strings is fabulous Spanish guitar players, one of the most beautiful souls. And then each line on here represents kind of a very important, I'm not going to go into each of them because it'll make me very emotional, but each line represents that. The vine is very critical. You think about wines, right?
Well,
they're adaptive. They grow, they change. Need sunlight, they need earth. They go through the rocks, they change. So there's a pivot point in the vine that, it's life and rebirth. And the top is all fun. We have the fabulous Leopold.
Dylan,
you may know him as
get
Frenchie
close.
Leopold, but
get close.
they see him featured a lot on Frenchie social media. But I love the fabulous Frenchie Leopold.
Yeah, and I love and you're doing a lot for the Frenchie social media, by the way. Both Justin and Heather contributes a tremendous amount to this with Dylan, of course. I'm in love with your colors.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's a lot of color to go. But, and then we have the grapevines, the grapes across the back. It's getting there.
And what does tattoo mean to you?
For me, it's sit back down. For me, it's expression. It's a way for me to get my true inner self out there and exposed to people without having to speak, without having to share. Someone can come up and ask, or they can just see a story that's coming on here. It's my life put onto my arm. It's my story. It's how I want to tell it. And it's ever changing. So I still have to figure some spots to fill in. I have opportunity for, as new things happen in life, I can paste that story. And that's what I really love about it.
So it's a storytelling opportunity.
Yeah, and it's, again, I can put myself out there without putting myself out there. It's that first step over the curve.
Yeah.
So that's what I have grown to appreciate about it. I'm someone that, struggles.
Yeah.
And, we don't need to get too deep, but this is a way of me to expose myself.
I love it. So now, big question. Are you ready? I'm going to have a sip too. What inspires you the most?
So it's a tough one, honestly. That is a tough question because there's a lot of inspiration in this world today. Right now, I really like to think about the betterment of others. We talked about it a little bit tonight.
But it's important that you stress it because I knew you would go there. And I think it's a topic we should all embrace.
Yeah, it's one of those areas. There's a lot of as you can see, I start getting anxious and start looking at the wine. Well, it's a beautiful wine, so
I know.
There's a lot of things going on right now that I think a lot of us put a blind eye to.
Yeah, for sure.
it's emotional, so sorry.
It's good. We all are. And I can feel where you're going.
Yeah. I see a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with, whether it's there's things that really upset me. One is around like the indifference or cruelty towards others.
Yeah.
Like as someone that has had massive fears of that growing up my entire life, like I really don't like what I'm seeing right now. There's nothing wrong with different opinions. There's nothing wrong with
That's right.
like challenging each other, but we should all be out focused on the betterment of others. We should be focused on how do we lift each other up.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree on things, but like, that is a thing that like, an area that we all need to learn how to do better.
Well
so my
said.
inspiration right now, and this is like I will be the first to admit, like, you know, being someone that, you know, missed a very important growth point in my life. It's something that I probably haven't always been like the most forward. I've been a very selfish person throughout my life, and probably, you know, last few years have really like shifted that focus to others.
Yeah.
Starting to think about what am I doing to improve the world that we're living in.
Yeah, but which is beautiful is you've realized it and you're doing something about it.
Like I've had you know, some interesting conversations, and the one thing I would encourage everyone to do is speak up when something is unjust.
Well,
Like
that's the good
transition
transition to what's your advice to everyone in this new year?
Speak up.
Well, your big message. I think it's important because you've communicated. Can you believe we've been 50 minutes together already? I know, it's been amazing. What's from your inspiration to all your great message you've sent us and you've communicated to us and
the betterment of others, but speaking up when something is unjust is probably the most important thing we can do. And I'm someone that struggles with that. I'm not someone that's comfortable speaking up. I'm not someone that's comfortable challenging others. There was a pivotal moment for me just within the last year where I was with some people that I know fairly well.
Yeah.
And they got on a topic about their daughter and how they weren't happy with her career. I don't want to give too much details because I don't even know who they are. But they were saying some pretty horrible stuff, and I did not speak up.
Yeah.
I did not challenge them. I did not say stop. And it has bothered me to this day, to the point that I am not comfortable being around them because I didn't step up and set the record straight, saying this.
So
is
speaking
wrong.
up is a big
speaking
deal.
up for others.
Yeah.
Speaking up for people that can't. Not speaking up just to speak. There's a lot of people that speak up right now.
Yeah.
Speak up about stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Speak up about stuff that benefits them or in their own self-interest. Speaking up for others.
Yeah.
Speaking up for what's right and just and moves us forward is probably the most important thing I am focused on this year.
I love it. Dear friends, what an amazing time. Ooh la 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 la. So we've covered a lot of topics and phenomenal topics. And Justin, I want to thank you so much.
You know, I want to thank you. So
for having been so open towards finally a year later.
You know, again, like I do want to thank you because this is not a comfortable. I'm not someone that's open. I'm not someone that talks a lot. I am a very mirroring personality. Like I like to, you know, make sure I mirror the people around me quite well.
Yeah.
So that's it. So thank you for having me step up. Thank you for giving me a platform. Thank you for encouraging me and bettering my life.
Well,
so we talk about betterment of others. You have had a major role in my life.
And I would
it.
say it's vice versa. And to the amazing friendship, dear friends, that you have, to allowing yourself to open up, to allow yourself to reinvent yourself, to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to speak up for others, as you said so well, and to really becoming who you meant to be and pushing yourself, because you're the prime example of a great success and a great reinvention. So Justin, from your tattoo next time, you promise you'll show more?
I'll keep it going.
Dear friends, that was amazing. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Cheers.